Alright, so what is up, guys? Welcome to the fourth part of the getting familiar with Python tutorial, and in this video we're going to go over a few more essential bits that can help you with getting started. And these are just going to be some tips in general that you should know about when you are programming in Python, because they might come in hand later. So the first thing I want to show you is that when you assign or create an expression to a variable such as 1 plus 2 plus 3, you may have noticed that in Python we don't use curly brackets. So how would the program know that we want to continue this if we want to change to a new line? Well, the way to do this is to add, of course, the plus symbol or whatever kind of operator you want to add, and then make a backslash. And this backslash just tells the program that we are going to continue on the lines below. So we're going to type in 2 plus 3 plus 4. And that is one way to tell the program that we want these two lines to be read as one line. So just remember, you can use the backslash to do that. And if we go ahead and print x, and you'll see the answer is 15. Now there's a second way to do this, which I find more efficient because it doesn't make you have to write this backslash. And that would be just to add a pair of parentheses. Now we can go 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 12 plus 2 plus 23 plus 33. And if we format that, you'll see that this is perfectly valid. And when we print x, you'll see we'll get the value of 78, which is the sum of all these numbers together. So that's another way to use separate lines to assign a value. Now, there's another cool thing you can do in Python, which is assign several variables with several values on the same line. And to do this, let's pretend we want x to be equal to the value of x as a string. Then all we have to do is include this semicolon, and we can do y is going to equal the value of y as a string. And finally, we can go and add the z, which is going to equal the value of z as a string. So just by choosing to include these semicolons, we can go ahead and save a lot of space by assigning several variables on a single line. And this is completely valid in Python. Now let's move on to the concept of indentation, because as you may have noticed earlier, in Python we have no curly braces. So how does the program know when to start a new line and how it should work? Well, in Python, we use indentation to show that a line is starting. So it can be one space, it can be two spaces, it can be triple spaced. Whatever amount of indentation you want, you just have to make sure that you indent the next line. And everything inside that line should be indented the same way. So one way to test this out is we're going to create a for loop, and we're going to do for x in range up to 10. Let's go ahead and write range correctly. You'll see that we are going to have to indent the next line, which Python luckily does automatically for us. And this is about, if you just click tab, you should have a sufficient indentation for this, but you can also just make a single space. It's up to you. So anyway, inside here, we're going to write if x is divisible by 2. And the way to do this is just to check if the remainder of anything that's divided by 2 is equal to 0. Then we're going to print the string value of x, and we're just going to type in is an odd number. So as you can see, everything inside the for loop was indented by one tab, and everything inside the if statement was also indented by one tab, which means everything that starts on this line or on this indented line will be part of the if statement. But instead, if we go down and we click backspace, you'll see that we will still be able to write lines of code that will take part for the for loop. So if we type in print x, you'll see that this will loop 10 times, and we will print 10 values here, and we will also print all of the odd numbers. So let's just go ahead and click on play to see what happens. And as you can see, first we printed all of the numbers, of course, and every time we ran into an odd number, the if statement fell into play, and it told us that 1 is an odd number, 3 is an odd number, 5 is an odd number, and so on. So Python is a language that is based on indentation, and it looks super clean, and this is one of the main reasons I love Python. I just love how clean it looks when you write code. And to create a new statement, all you have to do is go down and make sure there are no indented lines. So then we can go ahead and type in print, and we can say this is a new statement. And this will not be part of the for loop because we have started a new indentation line. So if we go ahead and click on play, it will print all of that. And at the bottom, you'll see that it says this is a new statement. And the final thing I want to show you in this video is how to create constants and what those are. So the first thing you want to do is go to your project folder and create a new Python file. And we're just going to call this one constants. And inside here, we're going to create a few constants. The first one we're going to create is the constant pi, which is just going to be equal to 3.1415, just the simple pi variable. And we are going to create a fake constant called formula, which is going to equal 100 times 10. And maybe one more constant, which will be called red, which will be equal to 33,333. So you may be wondering, what is a constant? Well, a constant is a value that remains the same throughout the entirety of the program. And the naming convention for a constant is just to keep it all in capital letters so that you can be sure that when you refer to it, it will always be the same value. And in Java and Kotlin and other programming languages, usually you would not be able to change this value because you would have a special keyword that would define it as a constant, and that just tells the program that you should not change the value. But in Python, I believe it is possible to change the value of a constant, which kind of defeats the purpose. So from what I read online, you are not supposed to change the value. Just make sure you have it in capital letters, and you know that if it's in capital letters or uppercase, you should not change the value. But now you may be wondering, how do we use these values? Well, let's go to our main Python file. And the first thing we have to do is import this file. And to do that, all we have to do is refer to the file name, which is constants. And we're just going to type in import constants. Then we can go ahead and type in print the string value of constants.red. And you'll see that when we run the program, we will have the value of red printed out. And this works also for the other ones. So let's go to, let's actually just create a formula. So we're going to type in formula. It's going to equal constants.pi times constants.formula divided by constants.red. So this will refer to all the constants that we created in our constants file, and it will make the calculation with those given values. Then all we have to do is go ahead and print the string value of this formula, and you'll see that we will receive an answer of 0.09. Anyway, that was the basic concept of using constants. It's just to have a fixed value that you can always count on when you have to refer to it, such as maybe a website URL or something else that is always fixed, such as the constant pi. This is not a number that changes. It's something you just want to refer to that is fixed. And with that being said, that's actually all I wanted to go over in this video. In the next video, I'll be going over a few more tips and tricks, and then we will continue on with learning Python so that we can make some nice AI and probably get into machine learning soon enough. But with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.